Hi, this is Sarah Lacey, and I'm here with Klaus Hommels, a very well-known angel investor in Europe. And Klaus, you have sort of a non-traditional outlook on the European web market for a guy who's made quite a lot of money investing in the European web market. Tell us about the state of things there.
So the state of things. So I'm following the tech market in Europe for quite a while. And I'm a little bit concerned that that we are missing some big cornerstones here. So if you look like the infrastructure, the big companies are very decisive for the ecosystem, like the Googles, the Yahoos, the eBays of the world, and the Facebooks. And when you look at it, so you see that the US, of course, has them. Then you see that Russia has them with Mail.ru, with Odnoklassniki, and with Yandex, and the Chinese have that as well, meaning like with Taobao, with Tencent, with Baidu. Just the Europeans haven't achieved of building these kind of blocks within their footprint. So this has some structural implications, meaning you don't have center of excellences from these big hubs. Yeah, then of course these big hubs do not acquire other companies. So that gives us a little bit of structural disadvantage vis-a-vis the very big markets.
Mm-hmm. And with your group shopping and coupon businesses, you've kind of tried to turn this into an advantage by having this sort of federated structure holding company, but then individual companies in the countries. And as we discussed in an earlier segment, that seems to be working. Are there other areas of the internet where that kind of structure would work to build some sort of collective European powerhouse?
I think we have some examples where it worked. Yeah, so I think the Zambo brothers are doing an excellent job in doing that. For example, for City Deal, they did it. They are now doing it for Zalando, which is Zappos, but also not only limited to shoes, but also with accessories. Mm-hmm. So the e-commerce business, I think, is a good model to do this. The other things, well, I mean, when it comes to innovation, we still, and I don't want to stress that as well, and I do want to stress that as well, is we do have some companies that really do a spectacular job. Yeah, so the Skypes and the Spotifys of the world. So if we have a great entrepreneur that has a vision and directly puts it into a global vision and a global rollout plan, then we will have a possibility to create great companies.
Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between someone who hasn't been able to create, a Google or a Yahoo of Europe, but then you do have a company like Skype or Spotify? I mean, is it the type of thing that they're trying to do? Is it that music somehow transcends different barriers, or in Skype, everyone wants to connect, so it's not something that gets mired down in language the way content or search might? I mean, why are those two examples that seem to have transcended when so many others haven't?
I think that the truth is always a mixture of certain things. So first of all, I think both have origin in Sweden. So, and every entrepreneur in Sweden probably sees that he has to be global immediately, that the core market, Sweden as such, is not big enough to build a real big company. I think some of the entrepreneurs that start out in Germany or in the UK still think they can serve the UK market or the German market, and therefore set their goal too low, and then of course do not then way it more difficult to become a global company. Second thing is, since the ecosystem is a little bit younger here, it takes, let's say, a little generation of entrepreneurs to have these qualifications and grow into this kind of type that has a global aspiration. So Daniel Ek as well as Niklas and Janus were both a serial entrepreneur, and it were the second or third company. So you are used to some of the hassles, and you become maybe bolder in the view that you have how to want to build a company and what the vision is.
Now, both those guys also had success before, which means, they were free to go start a company. They had, sort of made enough money. They've been free to, angel invest in other companies. One piece of the puzzle that I often hear is missing in Europe is that the stock options aren't spread deeply enough inside organizations, that a lot of employees don't value stock options. They just want big salaries. So an entrepreneur says, well, then I'm not going to just give away stock when it's something that's not going to be an incentive for you. And then you don't have like this Google effect where the company goes public and suddenly there are, hundreds of millionaires that are minted. You have a couple guys who make a lot of money and then a lot of people who just worked at a company that went public. Is that an issue in Europe?
No, I don't think so. I think we have adopted the model. I mean, that is basically taken care of by a lot of the US VCs, and also some of us angels learned in the meantime that it makes sense to implement these kind of schemes. So the indexes and Excels and benchmark Bauleutens, they of course implement the same things that they have been learning in the US here in Europe. So I think that has become standard by now.
Mm-hmm. The other thing we hear over and over again is labor laws, that they're so different by different country, and that in so many countries they're really sort of fight against a company that needs to scale up very quickly and also be able to scale down very quickly. Do you think that's part of the issue too?
Well, I mean, the scaling down is probably, if it comes to that, then you are already in a different.
You're screwed
mode,
anyway.
In a different mode. So, but I think growing is a different thing. Yeah. So because first you grow into, if you have a very scalable product like the music or the Skype thing, then it is anyway easier. But if it has if you have to have some people on the ground, yeah, for example, like the shopping clubs or the group buying sites, then you have to do it in different countries. You're fighting with different startups in different countries with different networks. So the barriers to really go to this 270 million Europeans, it's way higher than if you start in the US and you basically have your 2-3 competitors, and if you are happy and be the leader, yeah, then you come to completely different economies of scale and way faster. And VCs also acknowledge that. So you probably have in the first round of capital, you get a higher valuation and you get a little bit more money. So there's still some structural ruptures in the system.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But it's becoming way better. So, and I think we are learning and we're trying to improve. But it's still, yeah, you cannot discuss different languages and legal areas away.
So you don't think Europe is doomed?
No, of course not. It's just we have to carefully analyze what are the strengths and the weaknesses, and we have to adapt the way we do build the businesses.
Mm-hmm. All right, I would not be doing my job, Klaus, if I let you off this Skype connection without asking you about Spotify. Hearing rumors, they finally got these magical label deals all sewn up. Of course, we've been hearing these rumors for 2 years now, so it's hard to know if it's actually happening. What can you tell us?
So I do not want to get too deep into that because there are other people that would give you a way more precise answer to that. So I think it is very smart the way how Daniel Ek is doing it. He has a very clear vision how deals have to look. Yeah, and it's not about having a deal and going live. You have to have the right deal. And I think he has come to a point where everybody acknowledges that. And I think we might be surprised very soon.
Might be surprised very soon. Very soon, meaning a week, a month, before the end of the year for sure. No other hints? Nothing else I can pry out of you?
No, I'm afraid I have to pass on that.
All right, well, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Sarah.